Procedure number 10, conduct on the job site. Conduct on the job site. These rules apply to any employee who visits any job site for any reason. They have been established for the protection of our employees and our business. They will be strictly enforced. Violations will result in consequences up to and including termination of employment. Whenever on the job site or whenever wearing the Masonry Cosmetics name or logo, employees shall behave so as to enhance the reputation of Masonry Cosmetics. Except when on breaks, employees on the job site should spend all their time and effort working to complete the job safely, efficiently, and profitably. A. Etiquette. Checking in and out. Unless directed differently by the supervisor, when the first MCI employee or group of employees arrive at the job site, the ranking employee, or someone the ranking employee has designated, should immediately check in with the person in charge of the site. This person may be a homeowner or a business owner, or it may be a general contractor or a brick dealer or manufacturer. When checking in, carry a clipboard or business cards if available. Say something similar to the following. Good morning, I'm Tom Borek with Masonry Cosmetics. I'm here to, and then state your business. The following are some examples of appropriate ways to state your business. Jim from Ace Construction asked me to come and create a test panel. I'm supposed to stain some of the brick on the north wall to match that brick over there. Or, we've been hired to stain a portion of the brick on the entire building. Or, I'm here to examine the site so we can develop a quote for staining those white brick to match the browns. Next, ask for permission to proceed with your work. It's just polite to ask for permission. Even if you already have permission in writing or from some other source, you ask the person who's in charge of the site just to show them the appropriate respect and to show how professional you are. So, to ask for permission to do your job, you might say something like this. Would it be okay if I leave my truck where it is and just walk around the building, taking pictures and examining the wall? Is that all right? Or what we'd like to do is we'd like to move our truck closer to the building and then begin staining the lower part of the east wall. Is that okay with you? We can start with a different wall if you'd prefer. Or we've rented a 20-foot boom lift that should be here in a few minutes. If it's okay with you, I'd like to set it up next to that wall so we can begin working on the upper stories. Follow any rules given by the manager of the site. If you're unable to follow such a rule, check with your supervisor. B. Cell phones and other entertainment communication devices. A. Generally prohibited. Except as set forth below, employees may not possess or use cell phones or other entertainment or communication devices while on the job site. B. Permitted in listed circumstances. Cell phones and other entertainment communication devices may be possessed or used on the job site only under the circumstances listed below. 1. Devices may be stored in an MCI or personal vehicle within the employee's MCI backpack so long as they cannot be seen or used without removing them from the case. Or 2. Devices may be accessed and used during the morning break, during the lunch break, and during an authorized break in the afternoon as long as they remain in their bag or case in the vehicle until the break begins and are returned to their bag or case in the vehicle before the end of the break. Or 3. An employee may carry or use a device when specifically authorized by a supervisor to carry or use the device at that particular time or place. So, for example, you may ask for permission to use your cell phone when you're counting bricks so that you can do calculations. Or you may ask for permission to bring your phone to the site and take it out of the bag because you're going to take some pictures. Or 4. When not on a break, A supervisor may carry a device when it is safe to do so and may use a device for business purposes. Care must be taken. Under no circumstances may any employee, including a supervisor, use a device while on a ladder. C. Talking. When an MCI employee is on a job site, his or her conversations should either help with the work and mission of MCI or at least not interfere with the work and mission of MCI. A. The supervisor on site is the only MCI employee authorized to speak with non-MCI employees about MCI or about job-related matters. If you are approached by a non-MCI employee who wants to talk about the job and you're not a supervisor, refer the person to the supervisor. You may ask for the person's business card and say that the supervisor will call the person. Do not discuss the job or MCI. Employees who are not authorized to represent MCI in conversations can do damage to our reputation, can reveal trade secrets, and can undercut our marketing and customer service goals. Now, I know if you're new to this kind of business and you're new to this kind of conversation, you may feel foolish saying that you may feel like that you're showing your ignorance when you don't answer questions that are posed to you by the customer, especially if they're simple questions. So imagine the customer comes up to you while you're standing and he says, why don't you just stain the bricks one after another? Why do you scatter them all around the wall? Or he may say, is there water in there? Do you have water in that mixture? Or he may say anything else. He may ask you any number of questions to which you really know the answer. But the professional thing to do is get used to the idea that you can turn to that person and say, you'd really need to speak to my supervisor about that. He'll be able to answer all your questions, I'm sure. And then refer them to the supervisor in a really professional, business-like manner. If the supervisor is nearby, you can say, there he is, standing right there with the red shirt. Or you can say, here, come and I'll introduce you to him. Or you can say, here's his business card, you can call him at this number. Or you can even offer to dial the number for him or to get a cell phone. The thing that you have to understand is you can do this in a way that's not the least bit embarrassing and it makes you feel like a professional and makes you look like a professional. If you don't know how to phrase these things, ask your supervisor or talk to somebody in human resources. If you believe that there's a good reason to disregard this rule for any reason, obtain permission from your supervisor or from the president or vice president before engaging in any prohibited discussion. B. While on the clock, do not have conversations with anyone that interfere with or slow down the work to be done. If a non-MCI employee wants to talk to you about matters unrelated to MCI or the job, you may give a brief response and then politely say that you must get back to work. If an MCI employee wants to have an extended conversation that interferes with your work, politely tell him or her that you must return to your work. C. While on the job site or while wearing MCI clothing or while you can be recognized as an MCI employee, do not swear or use foul language, and do not engage in name-calling directed at other MCI employees or at anyone else. Part D. Tobacco products. No MCI employee shall use tobacco products on any job. Supervisors may authorize employees to use tobacco in designated areas on the job site during breaks. E. Professionalism. Whether on the job or on breaks or off the clock entirely, whenever MCI employees can be identified as MCI employees, they must behave with the dignity and professionalism of MCI and engage in no activity that might hurt the reputation of MCI. Unprofessional activities that are prohibited include, but are not limited to, A. Unnecessary yelling or screaming, although loudness is sometimes required, for example, to communicate with somebody high up in a lift. Or B. Horseplay, teasing, or practical jokes. Pretend you are starring in the film, The No Nonsense Professional Stain Crew. F. Clothing and appearance. Employees on site should dress and groom themselves as professionals. Avoid overly tight or overly loose or overly sloppy clothing. Avoid logos and insignia and slogans other than those authorized by Masonry Cosmetics. These rules are particularly important for crew leaders and others who will be interacting directly with customers and other non-MCI personnel at the job site. You only get one chance to make a first impression. A. Shirts and pants. Always wear shirts with sleeves. Long pants are generally required unless the supervisor approves wearing shorts for a particular project. Shorts should never be worn on commercial projects. B. Steel-toed work boots or shoes. Every employee whose duties will take him or her to a construction site must provide his or her own steel-toed work boots or shoes and must either wear them to the job site or take them to the job site. If the rules of the job site require that they be worn, or if the supervisor requires that they be worn, then they shall be worn. Failure to bring appropriate footwear to the job site may result in the employee being sent home without pay. On a non-local job site, the employee may be required to remain near the site without pay, or to provide his or her own transportation home to obtain appropriate footwear. G. Other safety equipment. Wear safety equipment when A. It is required by MCI rules. See Safety Handbook, Rule S2, Safety Equipment, especially the section on safety glasses and bungee cords. B. Wear safety equipment when it is needed for safety. For example, if there's active construction over your head, wear a hard hat. B. Wear safety equipment when it is required by the rules of the job site. If the job site requires hard hats, gloves, and/or safety glasses, follow the rules carefully, even if they are inconvenient and even if they seem unnecessary. And that is procedure number 10, conduct on the job site.